and go spend time with someone else. Robin came out the winner in all of that, but I'm going to tell you right now, Robin is anything but a winner because now she's alone with effing KODY Brown. I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind here. I can't. Robin and KODY now have to be with each other forever in a house somewhere, mansion in Arizona, where their kids are going to live with them for the rest of their lives. And Robin will continue to collect dozens of tchotchkes, sending them into like an early bankruptcy before they can even retire. KODY will continue to demand massages from her, and like she's not a winner in that scenario. Okay.
For 2 years, you followed me down so many rabbit holes, chasing the secrets hidden away in dark places no one thinks to investigate. The closets that families fill to the brim, exploding with mysteries. But now, my life is undergoing major changes. A new country and a new closet to explore. Welcome to Rabbit from the Closet, where the secrets don't stay hidden for long.
Welcome back to Rabbit from the Closet. Tonight, we open the door once again and step deeper into Christine's memoir. In chapters 13 through 18, we might go all the way to 20, because this is kind of the mid-range of Christine talking about what was going on behind the scenes of the show. And this is definitely a time where that redemption arc we saw for KODY becomes inverted into a well of sadness. In chapters 13 through 18, the redemption arc we witness before twists on itself. What once felt like hope becomes a well of sadness. The secrets Christine has carried into this closet are no longer redemptive. They're heavy, heartbreaking, and raw. This is where the light dims, and we just see how much pain was hidden beneath the surface of Christine's story. Together, we're going to explore these chapters, peeling back the layers of sorrow and truth that Christine shares from behind the closet door. Okay, chapter 13, Just Be Present. All right, in this chapter, Christine is talking about the time right after Robin enters the family. And she makes the point that herself, as well as all the other sister wives and all of the children, made a concerted effort to be really kind and welcoming to Robin. They really took her feelings into account. We already heard in the prior episode that Robin was literally on her best behavior, especially towards Christine. She was being kind, she was being sweet, and she was including them in the wedding to KODY. And this was a big deal for Christine. One of the main positives in all of this for Christine is the fact that she really loved Robin's children, and Robin immediately made a connection with her daughter, Mykelti. Mykelti actually ended up going and moving in with Robin to help take care of her kids, and they became very close. We've seen that in the seasons prior when she first moved in with Robin, and now in later seasons, Mykelti has remained very close with Robin and kind of champions her when the rest of the family is like, we're done with that bitch. Now for Christine, when Mykelti started getting close to Robin, it brought back memories for her of how close she was with her second mom. And this all seemed to fit together. This was a really good relationship for her in her childhood, and now Mykelti got to have that relationship. So Christine thought about it in a very positive light, although she was still quite jealous of what was going on between Robin and KODY. The cameras played into this big time. I think in this chapter, we see how in prior situations where relationships were in turmoil, the wives didn't get to watch themselves on TV. They didn't get to see how KODY was acting with another wife. They didn't get to see KODY talking about them in a different light. Now everything is on TV. And so they're watching the seasons as they go up on TLC, and they're seeing, well, KODY did this and Robin said that. And it's very different from how they lived their lives before. Christine does acknowledge that here, that watching herself on TV changed how she reacted to situations. And it also gave her like more of the truth of what was going on behind the scenes, and it started to feel more and more unfair to her. Here's the first example where Christine was approached by one of her children who was seeing that there was an inequality in the way that KODY was treating the wives. Peyton, who was in 6th grade, had some concerns. Christine writes, Peyton says, "Why does Dad go to KFC with Robin and her kids? I thought KFC was a treat. I tried to explain that we didn't go often because we don't eat fast food. But they go all the time," Peyton said. Peyton's a sensitive kid, and I think he noticed the difference in how KODY treated Robin and her family before anyone else did, and that was hard for him. So even without the TV screens, the kids are noticing that things are just very different when it comes to Robin. And Christine's going to go on to talk about how Robin was very different from the other wives. I didn't notice this in the early seasons, but Christine lets us know that the other wives were all wearing the infamous Mormon undergarments. And because of this, they had to wear, if they wore like a short sleeve shirt on the TLC show, they had to wear long sleeves under it. They had to wear long dresses. They were covering up these really uncomfortable, in my opinion, and in my opinion, ridiculous garments. Robin came into the family and she wasn't wearing them. She had a different perspective on how she was living her life under the AUB. And so one of her decisions was that she wasn't going to wear them. And Christine notices right off the bat, she looks sexier. She looks happier. She spends a lot of time on her makeup. She wears clothes that Christine feels like she couldn't wear. She shows off her body in a way that Christine feels she cannot show off her body because of her religious convictions to wear these undergarments. During the time of the first season and carried over into the second season, Christine's church was also dealing with a public relations disaster. Christine writes, "The church was also dealing with a public relations disaster, one that I had no desire to be associated with. At about the same time as we started filming, news broke of accusations that members of my church had molested children. Exactly what I had always decried about the FLDS. That shook me. Even the thought of something like that happening to one of our kids could bring me to tears, and this was the group that provided the morality rules for how we should behave. I thought back to my mom and how she had always said we should judge church leaders individually rather than assume they are righteous or good." The church was also angry at the family for going public. They wanted to continue to live in secrecy. And I think they probably attributed the fact that they were being exposed as having people acting inappropriate with children in their group. They probably attributed it to the fact that the Brown family went public. So they were angry towards the family in general. And here Christina is still working as a teacher in a school that is supported by this church. Meanwhile, Christine was incredibly pregnant with Truly towards the end of season 1. And she writes here, and this is like concerning to me and hard for me to hear, that she was working her ass off right up until the point that it was time to give birth. She was really concerned about paying off some debts that she and her family had. So for her, because it sounds like KODY was just doing his own thing. He's got 3 other wives to support. She was working right up until she gave birth to Truly, and the purpose was to pay off her debts. She writes, "I wanted to pay off all my debt before I had Truly so I wouldn't have to work after she was born. I asked KODY to help put the kids to bed at night because I wouldn't be there. We had Aspen, McKelty, Peyton, Gwendolyn, and Isabel. Just tuck them in, please." "I don't have time to do that every night," he said. "We live in the same house," I said. "You need to ask your sister wives for help." Okay, this is where that arc, like I said, it just inflates into, a deep, sad well that makes me really angry towards KODY. So he doesn't have time to help with his own children directly after the birth of yet another baby. I mean, there were so many other options for KODY. If he didn't want to have more kids, he could have taken precautions with his wives. He could have been like, "Look, we're really overwhelmed. We have too many children as is. I can't help enough. You guys aren't getting along. We don't have enough money. We're starting a new TLC show. Maybe let's put having a baby on hold. I'm going to be careful and use some kind of protection." They weren't doing that. They decided to have another child, and now he doesn't even want to help after the birth of Truly. This is disgusting to me. And it, again, makes me think about my own life and whatever standards I have for the people around me. I've always felt like maybe I should have higher standards. Maybe I give too much of myself. But when I see Christine dealing with this bullshit, I'm like, wow, I have been lucky in many ways in my life to, certainly just have a husband that is only married to me. Thank God. Because I started watching Sister Wives like, hey, I'm not all about the religion, but I might be willing to take on another wife because I have way too much to do. And I don't mind having a few nights where my husband doesn't come and visit me because I've got a lot going on. And now I see what Christine was dealing with. I saw it when we watched the show. And I'm just like, no, thank you. I don't want to be treated this way by someone who's supposed to be my spouse and my partner in my life. Yeah, KODY is like, you need to go ask your sister wives for help. What is he doing? He's out selling LDS material in his Lexus convertible. I can't. So he tells Christine, I cannot help you. And this is where it really hits Christine. It slaps her in the face. It's really sad. She writes, I have given you everything, I thought. These are our children. I feel such fucking disgust. I'm sorry for those of you who are like, this is not what I came here for, but I'm disgusted by KODY in this moment. I literally cannot believe, I see it. I see in these chapters and watching the show that Christine dedicated her life to being a wife and a mother. She was not really putting anything above that. She did end up doing her advocacy for a period of time, but by the time the show came along, that advocacy group didn't even want Christine anymore. And her church was almost turning their back on her because they were angry that the family went public. So who does she have now? All she has is this family, her kids, her husband, and her sister wives, and they're all being total effing assholes. I'm sorry. Specifically KODY, but I'm also looking at Mary like, Mary, you have one child. Get your ass down in that basement and do whatever Christine needs you to do. Now, at this point in time, I'm sure Christine was like, I don't want her around my kids, but there were things Mary could have done, but Mary was off in La La Land, making eyes at Robin. Christine's in the basement trying to carry the weight of all of these children, plus homeschooling and teaching the kids. It's just insane. I really see Christine as being someone who gave her life to this family. Janelle had a life outside of the family. She was working. She had a good job financially and intellectually, like making moves in her life. Mary was off, like I said, in La La Land, being really inappropriate with Robin. And Christine's struggling in the basement and no one cares about her. It's just insane. It makes me so angry. At this point in time, Christine realized, like, KODY is not who I want him to be. I'm asking for help with the most precious things in our lives. It should be precious to him too, our children. And I'm sorry, but Christine's children were quite lovely. That's something I remember from the episodes. I definitely think Janelle's children were like on top of things and really well behaved, but I found Christine's children to be fun and interactive and really lovely people. Christine paid off her debt, quit her job, and stopped giving KODY effing massages. She was like, no, I'm done. Christine writes, I'm not going to take care of you at the end of a hard day so you can chill while I continue my long day. I'm done. Good for you, Christine. Okay, this caused a problem because there was no more intimacy in our marriage because apparently KODY can't get it up if he doesn't get a full body massage from you. It's like an hour long while you're literally caring for children, cooking his meals, and cleaning the entire house. So he was done with her. The relationship with KODY started going downhill, and she started to feel like she doesn't have a functioning marriage. Now remember, this is like by the end of season 1, season 2, and we're in season 20 something for the sister wife. So she's already at a breaking point. She writes, it's over. I thought, I can't respect him if he won't help me with our children. All right. The problem is, going back to the church, Christine sees this as an eternal marriage. And she writes, there's a problem with eternal marriages. There's a narcissism to piety. God will reward me if I suffer through this marriage. God will see me as deserving above others. If I was suffering and God loved me more for it, how did he feel about happy people? So she's questioning a lot of things about her faith, but it's really reinforcing to her that even though this isn't making her happy, she needs to make it work. I like that she put her foot down. She was like, I'm done providing you with essentially sexual favors when you come over to my house because you're not doing anything for me. I like that she put her foot down there, but it also caused her additional pain in her life because KODY was like, fine, I got other women to hang out with. And I think that that's a real problem in this family, that if anybody says anything to KODY that he doesn't like, he uses this tactic of, well, I'm going to ignore you and go spend time with someone else. Robin came out the winner in all of that, but I'm going to tell you right now, Robin is anything but a winner because now she's alone with effing KODY Brown. I'm sorry, I'm losing my mind here. I can't. Robin and KODY now have to be with each other forever in a house somewhere, mansion in Arizona, where their kids are going to live with them for the rest of their lives. And Robin will continue to collect dozens of tchotchkes, sending them into like an early bankruptcy before they can even retire. KODY will continue to demand massages from her, and like she's not a winner in that scenario. Okay. So going back to where Christine is right now, she was not happy. She realized, this is pretty early on, much earlier than I would have thought, that this marriage is not good for her. Meanwhile, Christine was also not happy about what was going on between KODY and Robin. Like, for example, they were kissing before it was time to get married, and her first kiss had been on the altar. But she and KODY, they fight about this because KODY's like, well, remember, you told me you didn't like having your first kiss on the altar, so I'm trying to do it differently with Robin. So Christine, it's really interesting to me. This part of the book, up until chapter 18, 19, Christine really goes out of her way not to blame Robin. She really makes her frustrations and her anger, like, it's really about her relationship with KODY. It's not even all about KODY. Some of it's about her expectations and what she allowed to happen. She's just so forgiving towards Robin's role in it. And she essentially says, this isn't about Robin. Robin didn't do anything wrong. It's about my life, the decisions I made, and how KODY was treating me. And I am frustrated with that, but it's not Robin's fault. So Robin is benefiting, I guess you could say, from things that Christine has taught KODY, maybe things that Mary and Janelle have taught KODY, and it's hurtful for Christine to watch this. Christine again addresses the fact that when the TLC show was happening, some of the family, specifically KODY Brown, what became really dedicated to looking up the comments that were left underneath social media posts or about the show. And it was really hard for Christine, who didn't want to hear the comments. And one thing that was being talked about was the way that the wives were dressing, how they were frumpy or they don't look sexy. And this is kind of what brings into Christine's area of thought, like her space in her mind. She starts to think about how Robin's outfits look pretty sexy compared to the rest of them. And she starts to feel like some sense of judgment and jealousy because she feels like she's limited by the fact that she wants to follow the rules of the church, that she's wearing these undergarments, that she's following what Mary and Janelle and KODY have always, wanted as part of their family. And she's having to cover her undergarments by wearing these kind of odd fashion choices. And she's not, showing her body off the way that Robin is. And it's being talked about publicly. This is very hard for her, and it makes her feel bad about herself. And it just really points out the differences between the wives, and specifically Robin. It's not only that Robin was younger, Robin was skinnier, whatever. Those are very shallow parts of the narrative. It's also what Robin allowed herself to be. Robin put plenty of makeup on. Robin spent a lot of time on her hair. Robin needed help. She needed a nanny. She needed other older girls in the family to take care of her kids. So she had time to do her hair and her makeup and go shopping and get the things that she wanted. Whereas Christine devoted all of her time and energy to helping her kids and her family. They were different. They're just very different. Christine is starting to notice this early on, and it's making her uncomfortable. But again, she doesn't make it about Robin. She just kind of questions, why didn't I feel free to be able to be who I wanted to be, show my body off the way that I wanted to? And she makes it clear that that's how she's living her life now. But back then, that wasn't authentically who she wanted to be. And Robin is really exposing that for her. a series of events occur in the media that are hurtful to Christine. For example, Robin and KODY had pictures done of themselves with his Lexus, like professional pictures done before the wedding. And in these pictures, they're very close, like almost acting incredibly sexual towards each other. I think Robin is leaning up against him on the car. And these photos were supposed to be kind of like kept for Robin and KODY to have for themselves, but instead they were leaked to the media by the photographer who didn't think it was a big deal. And the wives, Christine, Janelle, and Mary, get to see them, and it adds this layer of feeling sort of uncomfortable with the fact, once again, that Christine feels like maybe they're not following the rules, as it's always been made clear to Christine, like you wait until you get married to have any kind of an intimate relationship with this man who already has 3 wives. Robin does feel bad about it. She doesn't like that the photos were leaked. She comes to the women and apologizes. She's still kind of in this role of being like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean, I never wanted it. She's so innocent victim. I didn't want it to be like this. I just want to be part of this family. I mean, I want to give her credit in that she was trying, at least at that point in time. She was trying to tamper down some of the jealousy that the other wives would have towards her. The last part of this chapter is about the birth of Truly. It happened in the hospital, and it was the first birth that Christine had in a hospital setting. She talks about, we all know this part of the story. She talks about how it was very frustrating for her that KODY showed up, was there for, the end of the birthing story, held Truly for a minute, and then left to go be with Robin. And then when Christine got to watch the TLC show, because again, she wouldn't have seen all of this before. When she got to watch the TLC show, she sees KODY leaving Robin, who he's not married to yet, and kissing her as he's supposed to be coming to hold Christine's hand while she gives birth to Truly. And then she also sees him leave her and go be with Robin again. This is very frustrating for her. And she also admits to having what she would consider somewhat of a postpartum depression after giving birth to Truly. And this is the first time that she's experienced it. She has all this jealousy going on. Her hormones are raging, and she is struggling as a mom. Well, thank God she paid off all her debts before this happened, because I can't imagine if she also had to go back to work. That infuriates me. It infuriates me the level of independence that Janelle and Christine had to take on. I don't know if Mary had to do this also. I mean, I sort of wish we would get a tell-all book from Mary, but she's like, I'm just too good for that. I'm sorry, I'm really sassy about this today. She put out this whole social media video where she was like, I'm keeping my tea to myself. But there is tea, but I'm not telling it. All right, Mary, go hang out with your best friends selling LuLaRoe leggings. So this part of the chapter, we're just really seeing that Christine is on her own. These are way too independent women. I mean, it's too much. She is in turmoil. There's a lot of hormonal issues, chemical imbalances, and she writes, when we sister wives talked together about hard times, it was always about how to smooth away the rough edges of our own personalities and be better. It was never about KODY's behavior. It was about our responses to KODY's behavior. Therefore, I needed to control my feelings of jealousy and rage, and if I couldn't, something was wrong. It's just an unfair relationship. It's an unfair dynamic. I mean, I can see the positive. I for sure see the positive of looking towards yourself, of recognizing that you can't change other people, but there also should be boundaries as to how other people can treat you and treat your children. And Christine's boundaries are getting stepped all over here. Now, KODY, for his part, started talking to Christine about being quote unquote lovable. That he spends time with people who are lovable. When you are more lovable, then I can be around you. So this is a major issue, and the church is feeding into it. Her sister wives are feeding into it. One major situation that happens between KODY and Christine, and is absolutely disgusting to me, is that they are, 10 years into their marriage. And Christine mentions to him, the other wives, Janelle and Mary, they all have a diamond chip in their ring. not even like a diamond chip in the ring. And so she goes to KODY and says, hey, can we think about putting a diamond chip in my ring? And he's like, no, no, can't do that. No, not going to do that. We don't have money for that. No, that's not something we can afford. We're not going to do that. A diamond chip in her ring. She asks for it and he says no, and the other two wives have it. And so guess what, my friends? When it is time for Robin and KODY to get married, KODY gives her a ring that he's had a diamond put into. And Christine looks at it. I guess Robin is showing it to her. And she says, oh my God, that's so beautiful. And Robin says, yes, this is an old ring of mine. And KODY had the diamond put into it. And Christine says, oh, KODY Brown had, with no money, KODY Brown, financially destitute, bankrupt, KODY Brown had a diamond chip put in your ring and you're not even married yet. And Robin is like, yeah, he did. And Christine begins to think to herself, are you fucking shitting me? So I am the only wife still sitting here without a diamond chip in my ring, which I specifically had to come to him and ask for. And you are the new wife, and I just gave birth to this child, and Robin gets the new beautiful ring. No, thank you. No. This is not how it should be. Christine writes, did I mean so little? What's the deal? I asked KODY. I've been asking you for years for a diamond in my ring. We never had the money, you said. But you put a diamond in Robin's ring, I said. He was irate. It wasn't his fault. It was mine. Listen to what KODY says. You're comparing again. I remember him saying, blaming me for my jealousy for his behavior. I will treat you like you are lovable when you make an effort to be lovable. F you, KODY Brown. This is getting me so heated. No, Christine, this is abuse. Like, I'm not one who takes that lightly because, I don't know. I mean, I've seen real abuse in my life, real abuse. But this is literally breaking down someone's spirit and soul. I mean, Christine is being singled the F out here. All the other wives get a diamond effing chip in their ring. I'm sorry. The F word is getting thrown around way too much. It's like I don't even know how better to express how angry and livid I am towards KODY. I'm livid that this is how Christine was living while we were watching that goddamn show. I'm sorry. Okay. Good for Christine. She says she regrets it now, but she took her ring and threw it in a field because she was angry and heartbroken towards KODY. I mean, you have every right to be. And she moved on with her life. She was in a postpartum depression. She said her kids were really understanding and everyone pitched in. And even Janelle and Mary, like, they didn't really help. But apparently they told everyone, like, just leave Christine alone. She's going through it right now. I guess that's the most help they can give. And I mean, at least Janelle's working hard, but Mary is just up there like, I'm hanging out with Robin, my best friend. Chapter 14. We've chosen you. Okay, now with this chapter, deep breaths. If you're still here with me, take some deep breaths because it gets ridiculous. Okay, in this chapter, it's all about how Robin and KODY went on this ridiculous honeymoon. When you compare the fact that Christine had no honeymoon and a shit. I mean, actually, she had a honeymoon, but it was so shitty. It's like it would have been better to do no honeymoon than basically be like, this is KODY. Where do you want to go? What's the deal? Where do you want to go? I mean, if you were lovable, I would have picked out a hotel for us, but since you're not, like, what do you want to do? Okay, let's just go here and I'll make this hurt for you and then let's go home. The end. I mean, that was Christine's honeymoon as described in the first chapters. So now along comes Robin, and this is where I'm really going to stray from the book and talk about how I've made this a big point on my channel. I feel really angry that it's never really brought up in the discussions about what's going on with Robin and KODY, that one of the reasons why Robin and KODY get to be so joyously happy with one another is because when Robin came into the family, for the first time ever, they had a minimal amount of money. Okay, that's why Robin gets to be happy. That's why Robin gets to have a babysitter. That's why Robin that's why Robin gets to have a brand new, clean, nice house, and then eventually a mansion. That is the only reason why KODY is like, wow, it's so much better hanging out with Robin. She's not as stressed out as the other 3 wives. Wow, what could have possibly caused this one wife to be so less stressed out than everyone else? Ding, 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 ding. Are you an idiot, KODY? It's because the other wives had to work their asses off while they were pregnant, while you were traveling and ignoring them, while they had 0 money in their bank account, while they were trying to feed their children, while they all lived in a trailer with you. That is why Robin seems a little bit nicer. That is why Robin is willing to take time to give massages. You had money. If you didn't have that money, she never would have been with your broke ass. Okay? That's what it is. You had money, you have money, you take care of her, she goes to spas, she has plenty of jewelry, she shops all the time, you guys buy artwork. I mean, that is why she's with you. And that is why she seems like such a better wife. Imagine having all that money, getting taken care of, having servants to help you. Yeah, it makes her seem a little stressed out than Christine, Janelle, and Mary. And that is the reality of what's going on here. So getting back to chapter 14, this is all about how KODY and Robin go on, I don't know, a 2-week ridiculous honeymoon to Mexico, in which they surf and scuba dive. And this chapter is about Christine's perspective and how sad she was about it. She's looking at this and saying, I would have loved to go surfing. I would have loved to have even a short period of time alone with KODY, and I never got that. And yet, still, the other parts of the chapter are about Christine calling Robin amazing for the fact that Robin really included the other wives in her wedding. And Christine makes the point here that she didn't include Mary and Janelle in her wedding, and she wishes that she had, that she felt Robin was the epitome of being a good new sister wife. Okay? She really gives Robin a ton of credit. And to me, Christine's a better person than I could be about all of this. She says, Robin really tried to include us. And it is a great example for me, who wasn't even able to do that with Janelle and Mary. And we had a good time at that wedding. And I really appreciate her for this. Chapter 15, mojitos are delicious. Okay. All right, this is again all about Robin and KODY's amazing honeymoon that they went on. It was actually 11 days, but I mean, it was still really painful for Christine. And she's trying to be fair and saying like TLC was filming it, so this would have helped with the money. And also like, this is part of the reason why KODY was involved in scheduling it, because they had to film the show during this time. And they had more money, and they didn't have that before, which I've clearly emphasized in my rant. Eventually, KODY and Robin returned home, and they kind of went back to their lives, how they always had been, like a swirl of chaos, kids and family. They were doing media tours. Now they flew out to LA. And while this was exciting for Christine, we've heard like she is really down in the dumps. She's having some depression. And even like the fact that the TLC producers are taking time to ask her a lot of questions about like, how do you feel about Robin? What do you think about Robin having kissed KODY before? Now, from her point of view, they're not doing anything wrong, but she says it does emphasize to her own jealousy over the matters, and it's becoming more extreme, and she's really struggling to get through it. The family was shocked that they were received so well by their audience. They even went to LA, and I guess the part of the season was played in front of a studio audience, and the people stood up and like applauded them afterwards, and they were really shocked. They also asked a lot of questions like, is polygamy a felony in Utah? Are you scared? And Christine got to like speak out about that. This all felt really good to her, and yet it also stressed her out. She felt stressed out about them being public and the fact that their church back in Utah was not happy with them. And she said this is when she started to drink mojitos. And she said she did it almost exclusively after they would go on these like media tours. Like at night when TLC would take them out to dinner, she would get something to drink. And she says this was different for her because she had grown up, not really drinking. This is something that's important in their religion. And yet she had anxiety. And she used alcohol. And I don't get a sense that there was like a problem because it doesn't seem like it continued when she went home. But she says, she's just emphasizing, I was so stressed out about these press tours that I had to use something at the end of the night to help me calm down and go to sleep. And I was using mojitos. The rest of the chapter is kind of about Robin being integrated into the family and how Christine felt like KODY's whole movement in this was to integrate himself into Robin's already established family with her kids, but to kind of leave everyone else out of it. They did more together because the cameras were there. They had parties, dinners, and holidays, but everything felt so shallow to her when they would actually sit and talk. And it seemed like KODY was just moving more and more towards being a part of Robin's nuclear family with her children. The nights really changed for Christine at this point in time too. She describes that essentially KODY would come to her house. Like it used to be he would come every third night and spend the night with her. Now he would come every fourth night and he would spend time maybe having dinner at her house and being with the kids. And then he would leave once the kids went to sleep and spend the night or day with Robin. And KODY started to say, I have to do this because Robin needs me. She needs help with her kids. And this is where Christine throws it back to, wait a minute. When I needed help with my kids, you told me to get help from my sister wives. You weren't there for me. And yet everything is changing when it comes to being there for Robin. So this is very different. And Christine says, acts of service is my love language. I did things for him to show I loved him. For him to not do back meant to me that he didn't love me, especially when he was willing to do for Robin. All right. So she's seeing this is a hard place for her to be in. I think she's in the most difficult place, being the third wife, having Robin be the fourth, and just, she can look down at her ring and see that she's left out of this equation. She's being treated, it's just interesting to me, she's being treated so differently from Mary and even Janelle. And Janelle has left KODY and gone to go live with her mom for like 6 to 8 months. And KODY still, I guess, got her a diamond chip in her ring. Maybe Janelle bought it for herself. I don't know. But it just seems that Christine is really being singled out for bad treatment by KODY Brown. At this point in time, Christine just comes to the realization that KODY is in love with Robin and she's feeling very left out. She tells herself it'll get better. Relationships tend to cool after those first infatuated months and things will go back to normal, but she didn't see that happen. Chapter 16. It felt so real. Okay, so in this chapter, we hear about how after the first season comes out, the state of Utah and the Mormon Church basically turn on the Brown family. Christine writes, they weren't going to give us a fine for a felony offense and let us live happily ever after. We assumed they would arrest KODY with the local TV stations alerted and the talking points determined ahead of time. And frankly, we knew we took a risk when we agreed to do the show, but we hope to shine a light on the civil rights argument for leaving polygamists alone. All right, so the time has come that they need to flee. We saw this on the show. After season 1, KODY's like, we need to get out of Utah. And I think he was my sense of that part of the season was KODY is incredibly scared for himself. It's all about KODY. And the rest of the wives and the children, they do band around him. They're scared to leave because this is their home, but they're ready to leave for KODY. And once again, all about him. And they end up packing up. We all saw it. They packed up and they moved to Nevada to protect KODY Brown and protect their family units. The church was not kind to them. And I think this was really hard. I mean, like I said, Christine calls themselves the bastard children of the LDS church, and we really see that in this specific chapter. They are not getting any support from anyone. Christine writes, I kept thinking about my dad and how the police had separated his family. I had been raised to fear the law anyway, but when we learned they planned to arrest KODY, we realized we had to go. Mary had already lost her job working with troubled youth after we went public, and there didn't seem to be any reason to stay. Not only might we lose KODY, but anyone who associated with us could be at risk. We worried that ultimately KODY would be able to have a relationship with only Mary and Leon. That's really sad. So they needed to get out of there. They had to sell the house and find a new place. They felt that Nevada laws would be most kind to their family. They could be, I guess, cohabitants under the law. They started packing and rolling out to Las Vegas. Christine writes, "We arrived in Las Vegas. We felt like fugitives from the law and each other." Chapter 17, we're just doing the best we can in a house full of love. Christine writes, television is an ego trip, or it can be. We learned that 2.26 million turned out to the first episode, and it was impossible to make that make sense. I used to rib KODY that the show was called Sister Wives, not KODY and the Sister Wives, and he'd say, but it's really about me. He was right to some extent. He'd say that he was the most dynamic out of all of us. Oh my effing God. Wow. What a piece of shit person, even if it was true, which I don't think it is. Why would you say that? Why would you say that to someone? It is so sick. I guess in chapter 2, they went to his high school reunion and they talked about his reputation at school. And that's when Christine is like, yeah, I guess he always had a big ego. He was a wrestling champ, popular, and he had bigger than life dance moves, but everybody thought he was gay, Christine. So remember that part of the story, which she leaves out here. The kids ended up going to public school, and Christine was worried that her kids would be bullied, but they never had a problem. She says they had wonderful teachers, and they were able to say that they were part of the polygamous Brown family, and basically they were normal kids. She writes zits, clothes, crushes. The other kids had their own stuff to worry about, so they didn't make fun of their kids, and it was just a really good situation for them overall, the kids living in Las Vegas. Eventually things kind of died down. In the beginning, it was fun for the kids to be on the show and they felt like mini celebrities, but eventually it became kind of exhausting for some of the kids. They didn't seek the spotlight. We've really seen this with Logan, especially. Remember how Logan darted out of the family when he was done? He came back to take care of his kids, but it wasn't on camera. I mean, to take care of his siblings. They did feel like his kids at times. Logan came back to help with all the siblings, but he never wanted to be on camera. And I love how his wife was not attention seeking either. So it did get tiring for the kids, and eventually they became less interested in, always being on the show. The wives started going to Sister Wives events where they would meet with the public and meet with their fans. And Christine seems to really love this. I think this kind of brought her out of her depression. However, she also says, when I saw myself on camera, when I had that mirror held up for me, I realized I can be pretty selfish. I don't know, Christine. I did not see you as being selfish. She says, I realized I can be pretty selfish, though now I wonder if I was being selfish in a self-care way because my needs weren't being met rather than a self-involved way. Christine, you were not being selfish. You, girl, just the expectations. The expectations in this cultural system are just unfathomable for me. And I am the one who's selfish, Christine, when I read about what you've been through. Okay, but Christine used the show as a way to change how she was towards her kids. She says, it helped me listen better to my kids and improve my skills as a mom. This is when she again emphasizes that KODY was a comment reader for social media. He read all the things that were being said about him and Robin, and he was very angry specifically about comments, any negative comment that was being made about Robin. Christine finds this really interesting because she said for the most part, Robin at that time was getting positive comments. But if there was one negative comment about sweet little Robin, he wasn't happy. I mean, to me, this is more than KODY's in love with her. It's like he has an obsession with her because he believes there's a better presentation when he hangs out with her. At this point in time, Christine also starts to notice that Robin and KODY start acting like each other, dressing like each other. They are really becoming a couple. And once again, she never experienced that in her own relationship with KODY. So, I mean, she is seeing and feeling like he doesn't feel the same way about me that he feels about her. And it's not feeling good to me how he's treating me. One issue that Christine discussed is, again, she's giving Robin a lot of credit. She said that Robin made for good TV because she liked to talk about her feelings, have everyone in the family talk about things, all the kids talk about things. But Christine began to feel like Robin was trying to act like a therapist towards her and KODY and their relationship together. And this did not feel good for Christine. Now, I can see there was probably a lot of pressure being put on Robin to actually be a therapist. I mean, it's a difficult conundrum that's been created by this covenant between all these wives and one man. But Christine didn't like it. She didn't want to be treated like Robin needed to be her therapist. Christine writes, through it all, the sister wives returned to our core principle of working to improve ourselves, but sometimes it seemed to only apply to the women. Soon after we moved to Vegas, Mary counseled me as I struggled through my relationship with KODY. He'd skipped both my birthday and our anniversary that year. We all used to talk about how when he looked at you, you felt as if you were the only woman in the world, but that stopped. Feeling seen, that's a form of intimacy. I have to block it out and make pretend everything is okay, I told her. Mary told me on camera that I was in charge of my own choices and that only I could make myself happy. You have to do it without putting it all on him, she told me. You're the only person who can change. You can't change anyone else. Just rewind and listen to everything else I've said about KODY and Christine and the way that first off, KODY is love bombing these people when he wants something from them. Secondly, there's a whole culture of these women making each other feel like they're not good enough and they need to work harder, do more, be better, be lovable. That's all I'm hearing in this memoir, and it's wrong. That's not the way the world should work. KODY is half of the equation, and I don't see any information here about him improving himself. Blah, blah, KODY. It's just, and blah, Mary. Blah, Robin. I can't with all of this. And just to hear that once again he was like skipping her birthday and anniversary because she wasn't lovable enough. No, it's abusive. It's wrong. And she points out at the end of this chapter, she points out that after everything happened, and Mary kind of intervened, I'm guessing maybe Mary went to KODY and was like, you got to do something. KODY took Christine on an on-camera date in which they played paintball and they went up in a helicopter, and that was what she always wanted to do, and it was amazing. And she felt incredible. And then afterwards, she apologized to him because he was being so wonderful and she had caused all the problems in their relationship. But she ends the chapter saying, but nothing had changed. We'd had one good day. And it was on camera, so once again, they're in a cycle of KODY getting to do whatever he wants. He spends one 24-hour period being nice to one of the wives, and then they give their whole heart, their whole soul. They work their asses off. They get multiple jobs. They bring financial things to the family. They homeschool the kids. They clean the house. They cook all the meals that KODY makes, for years until they get one more day where he's really nice. Until they get one more day where he's really nice to them. That's a problem. Chapter 18. I put on my big girl pants. Girl, rip those big girl pants off because you have been doing the most for this man, KODY Brown. You don't need to do any more. And I don't look forward to hearing about all the million more things you did for him while he treated you like shit. And I'm really sorry this was your life, Christine. I'm sorry for the other wives too, but of course, I feel really bad for everyone. I feel really bad for the other wives as well, but of course, I don't have their perspective to look at. This chapter, and this is going to be our last chapter because I am getting disgusted. Okay, chapter 18. In this chapter, the wives have moved to Las Vegas. And unfortunately, Christine lives down the street from Robin where she can see her house. They're like 6 houses away from each other. And basically a bunch of shit is going down. Okay. KODY is at Robin's house every single night. And because Christine lives there, she sees his car there, his, convertible Lexus, or probably by now he's got an Audi, who knows. He's there every single night. And she's noticing this. She's noticing that, even on Mary's night and Janelle's night, he's there with Robin. It just occurs to me that maybe the reason why Mary and Janelle were like, yes, we need another wife, is because they were tired of the massages. Maybe they were like, you know what? And this is the sense I get. I think this could be really true, is that they were like, I don't want to do any more of these massages. Let Robin have him. Whereas Christine, still being younger and affectionate and craving intimacy, was like, that's not what I want. But I kind of get the feeling that maybe Mary and Janelle were like, whatever. Because in this part of chapter 18, Christine is speaking to Mary and Janelle and being like, hey, are you noticing that Cody's like really spending all his time with Robin? And they're like, no, that's not what's happening. They're gaslighting Christine, I guess. And I hate the term gaslighting, but they really are. They're like, no, that's not true. What are you talking about? And she's like, I live 6 houses down from Robin. I can see him at her house every night. And they're like, what? No, we have amazing relationships with him. I mean, we get all the massages that we want. Her friendship with Robin didn't pan out because Robin was always so busy. And one thing that Christine talks about here is Robin would not allow Christine to just stop by and see her kids or hang out with her. That wasn't allowed. She needed to make plans with Robin ahead of time before she could come to her house. And Christine felt like this was kind of weird, and it created sort of a wall between them. Again, because Robin probably had to put on a shitload of makeup. And I mean, some people... I'm not going there. I was going to say something about Robin that I'm not going to bring up. She had to cover up what was probably really going on in that house, hide the black leather swing set they have in the bedroom, maybe, I don't know, before someone like Christine could come over and visit. She had to hide everything, and she needed time to make that happen, and that's why Christine had to make plans with her ahead of time. Christine didn't like it, so they did not become friends, and she's seeing Kody over at her house every single night. Janelle and Robin are acting like everything is fine. In October of 2011, Robin finally gives birth to Solomon, really cementing the relationship between her and Kody. She has a son with him. And Kody ended up staying at her house for 2 weeks after the baby was born. Remember what Kody had to say to Christine when her last child truly was born? Christine writes, what? I remember thinking, that's not polygamy. That's not relying on your sister wives. I wondered if Robin was that much more helpless than the rest of us. Or maybe Kody finally listened to the midwife who had always told him he should spend more time bonding and helping. Or did Robin matter that much more? Christine, honey, let me take your face right now, right here, and let me let you know what mattered so much more was that Robin was breaking out that black whip in the bedroom, girl. Do not feel bad. You just weren't into the things that Kody was into. And when I say that, I think there were a lot of sex toys involved in that relationship, Christine. And maybe you weren't knowledgeable enough to take it there, or you didn't want to take it there. And that's not on you, girl. That's on Robin and Kody for being freaks. I'm just kidding. I'm sure Robin is not, at that point in time, not the most horrible person in the world. I don't know. But I just don't think this is all, Christine shouldn't take this all on herself. It's not all about her. She didn't do something horribly wrong. It's not that she wasn't enough. Okay. For the rest of the chapter, Christine is talking about how Robin just really wasn't a part of the dynamic of the sister wives group. Even though Mary and Janelle had problems and Mary and Christine had problems, they always knew that they could count on each other. They relied upon each other because they had to, because they didn't have millions of dollars at that point in time. They couldn't hire a nanny. But Robin rarely asked for help from any of her sister wives, and she would hire outside people to come in and help her. And she would also have her other family members come and live with her to take care of her kids so that she could focus on Kody. Kody also made it clear that in order to have a good relationship with him, she needed to have a good relationship with Robin. That mattered to Kody very much. At one point in time, Robin told Kody that Christine was mean to her because Christine talked about some traditions they had in the family and was like, hey, these are the traditions that we follow for this holiday or whatever. And Robin was like, she's trying to control me, Kody. She's trying to rule over me, telling me about all these traditions. And I guess Kody was like, you better get along with her. You're not being lovable, Christine. Now, Christine ended up thinking about this as like, maybe they had gotten their wires crossed. Like maybe she was being a little too controlling. She didn't mean to be. She thought she was sharing something with Robin. Their wires were crossed, whatever. She tries to make peace about it, and she tries to allow Robin to become a bigger part of the holidays and share her own traditions. And she emphasizes that Robin came up with this good idea for Passover or something. And Christine really, really appreciates that. I mean, it's just constantly like being very kind to Robin. I mean, this is why I love Christine. She's a good-hearted person. Okay, but then one day, this is the end of this chapter. It's ridiculous. One day, Robin Brown approaches Christine and says, "Why aren't you doing massages for KODY anymore?" So Christine is really disgusted by the fact that KODY is discussing their sex life with Robin. This was actually a spoken and unspoken rule in their family, that they weren't supposed to talk about this, and KODY was not supposed to talk about it. But Christine, I guess, is shocked that Robin knows all this information about her. And Christine says, in my opinion, very reasonably, "He doesn't give back," I said. "So why would I do that?" And this is what Robin says to her. "Oh, really? He's such a great husband." Fuck you, Robin. Christine writes, "Is he? I thought it was a betrayal that he would talk to her about our sex life and that she would allow him to." Deep breath. "That doesn't mean Robin and I couldn't get along. I put on my big girl special Mormon underpants and we did things together." So now she talks about how her and Robin were hanging out. They went out and bought special dishes for family functions. They threw parties and planned activities together and they had fun. She talks about Passover, again, being very kind towards Robin because KODY told her he can't have a relationship with her unless she has a good relationship with Robin. Robin. Marcia. Chapter 18 is hard to get to, and chapter 19 is no different. It's called Bringing the Boy to the Yard, and it is all about how it was really impressed upon Christine that she needed to work harder to bring that boy to the yard. Mary and Robin are kind of making a big deal to her about how it's on her whether or not KODY wants to spend time with her. It's on her whether or not KODY comes to her house and spends the night with her. Why isn't she giving massages? It's such a small thing to ask for such a wonderful husband. Also, in chapter 19, they talk about the financial aspect of what's going on in the house. They finally have a good deal of money. Christine started to feel like she could make her own decisions about things because she had money to feed her children. She didn't have to ask KODY for money constantly. I mean, she did ask him because they had a centralized pot of money where all of the funds went to. And she didn't know how much money the other wives were getting from KODY, but apparently the way that it worked is she would just give KODY a budget that she had and he would provide that money to her. And she just felt better. Like he would write her a check and she felt like she had enough money to take care of her children. They had new clothes. They had the food that they needed. And this was very different from what was going on before. She did like living in Las Vegas because she finally felt like her home was a sanctuary. She did not have to do whatever Mary wanted her to do to fold the laundry the right way. And they would meet together and talk about their family goals. One big thing was talking about how each of them needed to create their own business because they didn't know how long the show was going to last. And this was something that all of the wives were working on pretty consistently. One thing I find kind of surprising about this book that I didn't realize is Christine talks pretty consistently about her ongoing work on her finances. It seems like Christine had her shit together and I had no idea. Like she is making sure she has enough money, paying off all her debts, making sure she's putting money aside for retirement, putting money into the kids' college funds. She is really managing her finances better than I manage mine. I mean, I depend a lot on my husband for our financial management. That's just how our relationship is set up. And it sounds like, KODY wasn't even a part of any of that for her. He probably would have used up all her money if he was in charge of it. Here's my cat coming to hang out with us. Now, when it comes to bringing the boy to the yard, quote unquote, bringing KODY to the yard, Christine talks about how there were really high expectations from KODY. Like when he arrived in the house, dinner had to be ready. Everything had to be picked up. The house had to be clean. She had to make steak and potatoes, everything that he liked. It had to be ready for him. The house had to smell good and the kids had to be acting appropriately. I would have failed in this marriage 110%. I am dependent upon my partner for help. I could not do all of this. And I really commend these women. I really commend these women for doing all that they could to keep these relationships going when it sounds like it was entirely on them. In this chapter, Christine talks about how the sister wives wrote a book together and published it. This book, it's really interesting to me because apparently they each met individually with the ghostwriter. And so when Christine actually sat down and read the book, there were so many surprises to her. Like she had no idea that Janelle or Mary felt a certain way, and this all came out in the book. She found this really interesting. Now, this is where shit really hits the fan, and we're going to start again in our next video at chapter 19 and a half. So it was in the book that KODY kind of divulges that he was never attracted to Christine. He calls her disgusting, that he was disgusted by her, and Christine exposes that she was deeply hurt about this. And we didn't see it on Sister Wives when they talked about it. And Christine acted very blank-faced. She acted like, well, it is what it is. But in here, she really opens up and let us know it was devastating for her. And that closes the door on chapters 13 through 18. What began as the promise of redemption has now collapsed into heartbreak for Christine and for me. I can't believe some of what we're reading. A reminder that not every arc leads to healing. But the story doesn't stop here. Next time, we'll step into chapter 19 and a half, where everything unravels. This is where KODY's betrayal cuts the deepest. When he tells the entire world he's disgusted by Christine and has been since day one of their marriage. So much for a redemption arc. Join me back in the closet as we uncover this turning point, the moment Christine's pain becomes undeniable.